Hi guys, welcome back to episode 4 of Rebuilding Fulham. And today, the building is going up. Today we are actually rebuilding. So far the season has been mostly demolition. We got demolished several times. And today it was a chance for us to hand out a demolition. Our first of the season. And hopefully not the last, although that remains to be seen. So, first things first, let's take a look at the fixtures we had this month. Now, in the last episode, it was just before this Charlton game, and as you can see, we went to Charlton and came back with the points. 3 of them, and 3 goals to be precise. Before this game, I was getting a little bit sick of Hugo Rodallega. I tried him up front, he couldn't put the ball in the net. I tried him out wide, he couldn't put a cross in to save his life. So today, he's handing out water bottles on the bench, and that seems to be the best position for him. Today, I tried out 16-year-old Patrick Roberts. Now, he has got a lot of potential, but I figured I'd just throw him in and see what he's good. See what he's good for. He's great in real life, but that doesn't always translate over that well to football games. However, in this case, it did exactly that. First goal, Roberts assisted, lovely ball in, McCormack, bang, 1-0. Just after the second half, Roberts gets on the end of a cross himself from none other than Yulesgaard and makes it 2-0. I didn't think we could throw away a 2-goal lead, although we did in fact try to, as Charlton suddenly came right back at us. However, in the 90th minute we won ourselves a penalty and Thomas Draget managed to make it 3-0 to Fulham, and that is by far our best win of the season, and hopefully not the last win of the season by any stretch of the imagination. Now then, we then carried that into the next game, and before this game I started getting the vote of confidence from former players, as well as people saying it's a must-win game. Now, we just won a game away from home 3-0. Why is it now a must-win game? Why wasn't it a must-win game when we were losing games? Now we start winning. Oh, no, he's got to keep winning. Brilliant. Thanks for that. As you can see here, we did continue winning, and Thomas Drager was the hero once again. A 3rd-minute goal. And in fact, most of this here, as you can see, 15 shots, 6 on target, we got all of this before half-time. Basically, in the second half, we were helpless. Norwich had virtually nothing in the first half, but then absolutely battered us in the second half, and there was virtually nothing I could do about it. We tried marking them out the game, we tried shutting up shop, we tried bombing forward, we tried covering. Nothing we did seemed to do anything. They just seemed to have their tactics perfect in the second half, and it was a miracle that we didn't concede a goal. But we didn't, and that's the main thing. And we got ourselves another 3 points, back-to-back wins, and another home win, and another clean sheet. And these are collector's items, so look at that. Clean sheet. Lovely. I hope that we can carry that into the next game against Norwich, against Reading rather, and we nearly did, very nearly. As you can see here, we were poor. They were definitely the better side, and we didn't dominate like we had done in previous games. We did, however, take the lead through, once again, Thomas Drager, who seems to have a wonderful ability of popping up and scoring a goal for us. Now, he's been played in a slightly different position now. I've been playing him in a sort of attacking midfield role ever since Brian Ruiz was injured, and I think he's a very decent player for that role. I'm just going to wait for his profile to load now. He can play him, and that is his best position in theory, and he's got the potential to become even better in that role. But I never thought to play him in there because Brian Ruiz is such a better player. There's some serious downfalls in Thomas Drager's game. His finishing isn't brilliant, although you would never know that from the amount of goals he scored for us already. And his tackling is a woeful. I mean, woeful. You won't see him putting a tackle in because 2 tackling is appalling. And that is something we're clearly training, and I believe it was actually 1 when we bought him. So he's already getting better, but, you know, baby steps and all that. Hopefully, by the end of the season, he could be, you know, a 3 tackling, which means he might, you know, put a foot in from, you know, year to year. Now then, 7 points from 3 games in this month. Decent. I was kind of hoping that would continue. Unfortunately, things started to go from bad to worse. Well, not from bad to worse. Things started to go from decent to starting to head back to where Fulham were before. And as you can see here, against Watford, who bottom of the table when this game occurred, I figured, yeah, we can go for it and get them. They have no right to be bottom of the table. I don't know what they've been doing for the previous games because they were a decent side and we had no chance. We should have won still. Even though the stats here wouldn't suggest it, our chances were much better than theirs. Most of theirs were from long range and easily gathered by Kirai. So It's a shame. Mariga did get his first goal for us, so that is one good thing that came out of the game. Unfortunately, it wasn't... We didn't keep our unbeaten record up. However, a relatively decent month for us, by all means, and it moved us up from 21st to 16th. Now, that might not seem like a very large jump to you, but, you know, we're only 7 points off the playoffs. All isn't lost yet. We may have only won 4 games this season, but we're getting there. We're starting to improve. I feel the tactic is starting to bed in a bit more now. We really have been struggling. I've put a couple of extra tactics in because I know that we're going to need them at some point. However, they're still not fully trained yet. I hope that by the time we have actually got them ready, they will maybe start to take more of an effect, and I can actually start to vary things up a little bit. Like, I imagine if we'd have been able to play this sort of uber defensive tactic without a striker and what essentially is a halfback, in fact, yeah, it is a halfback, but obviously it wouldn't be Ross McCormack, then we might have done better against teams like Nottingham Forest away, where we just needed to shut up shop and try and take a point and maybe snatch one on the break. And for games where we are clearly going to dominate, a two-pronged attack with an advanced forward, maybe. Very similar to the system we currently play, just without the shadow striker, and instead moving him up as a second attacker, which would be good. Hopefully in some games that'll come in useful as well. But until such time as those have bedded in properly, they're really, really difficult to use. I might start using them soon though, because they are getting there at least, but it is taking its sweet ass time, which is not good. Now, we do have some transfer funds coming up. In fact, we have some transfer funds. As you can see, we have 2.13 million and a decent amount of wage budget too, which is why I've been looking at a couple of players to try and bring in January, because we've got quite a few injuries. In fact, let's just have a little look here if I can remember how to find injuries, which I absolutely definitely can't remember how to find. So we may have to look at injuries in the next episode. Actually, I have no idea where the injuries have gone. There is definitely an injury table menu. I just cannot remember where it's gone, and I don't have time to go looking for it right about now. But what we can do is talk about the player I'm looking to bring in. And that is this guy, Alexander Gorgon, who sounds like some kind of alien warlord. And frankly, I think we could use an alien warlord in the team. If we could sign Ron Vlaar, we'd have a perfect partnership of alien warlords. Now then, he has some pretty decent stats. He doesn't have any outstanding stats, nothing above 15, but what he does have is a very consistent stat base of almost everything above 10, and most things that aren't above 10 are 9s and 8s. In fact, I think he only has 1 8, yeah. Only his marking is low, and we're going to be playing him up here as a shadow striker, potentially, or out in the right wing, because he can play decent wing as well. He's a very, very good player. His crossing could do with being a little bit better for that role, but I'm hoping that in here he'll be a perfect backup to Brian Ruiz, which will allow me to play Thomas Draga back in his natural position. I believe we have even put a bid in for him. Let's just have a little gander. Yeah, 1.4 million is the bid we've put in. I don't know how much he's supposed to be worth. It's supposed to be worth only 800k, but there's no way in hell that FK Austria VN are going to take that amount of money from us. He seems to have done quite well in the league for them this year, which is good, considering the role he's been playing. In fact, let's have a look at the role he's been playing. I'm sure we can find out. It would be on information. No, of course not, because Austria Wien aren't in the game. I've not got the Austrian Bundesliga loaded, so we're not going to get any actual stats from it. However, as you can see from the league table, Cardiff are, well, pretty much flying. I'd like to think that we were the ones that started that by giving them that 95th minute winner. But then that would put me in floods of tears, so perhaps not. Our goal difference is relatively decent. We've only lost that one game really heavily, and obviously we won the Charlton game quite comfortably, so we can kind of do both. We are decent on the day. I just think that when our tactic improves and we get better at playing that tactic, we will have a better chance in some of these games. As you can see, this is the kind of system we're playing at the moment. Let's just do a quick pick, even though I don't tend to follow the quick picks. I just use them to get fit, to see who's fit, basically. As you can see, I don't normally play Roddy. I've started playing Patrick Roberts in this role here. This is the kind of lineup we've been going for lately. I'm just trying to see if there's any players that we would normally be playing that are just... Kay Vossa has also got a torn hamstring now, so he and Brian Ruiz are in the joint. They've joined the torn hamstring club, and that is a club I do not want to be a part of. We also have Scott Parker, who is now also injured, which is great. just great. Which is why we're having to play Elsad Zveratic in the midfield, and he is poor. Really, really poor. He is a fullback by trade. He just happens to be able to play this role, so we've got him in there. Although a lot of the time I've tried to play other people in there, but I'm pretty certain he's injured as well. Let's just have a little look. I have tried Larnell Cole there, but he's not there yet. He's not a very good player just yet. He's got the ability to be one, or certainly the potential, but he is not there yet, and I probably could do with getting him out on loan, but at the moment we've got so many injuries that we just don't have the time. What you might notice here is we do have a guy here called Jose Mario Mourinho, and as you can tell by the name, he is Alex Ferguson's son. No, I'm just kidding. He's Mourinho's son. In real life, Mourinho's son does in fact play for Fulham, and as you can see, he's a goalkeeper. A very eccentric goalkeeper, it would appear, which is probably a trait he got from his dad. 17 eccentricity. Looks like he might be the next special one. Or he's hoping, because then we can sell him for a massive amount of money. Now, I just wanted to go over a few things before we ended the episode, because as much as I like showing you what happened in these games, which we haven't really done, all I can do is talk about it, because this computer simply will not handle showing you live games, which is something I desperately want to do. However, I am going to start doing some tests on the idea of showing you highlights from the games, if I can get them to load quick enough while I'm doing the commentary, because it is not worth doing otherwise. There's no point in sitting here for ages watching a screen saying loading highlights. There's only so much I can say during a loading screen without sounding dull. I might be sounding dull already, who knows. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, and if you haven't, then I apologise. Hopefully I can get better. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.